So this article is about the wildfires that are happening in Arizona. So several wildfires they burn, and it has been, get this, several wildfires they burn across Arizona while the state is sweltering, and it's under extreme heat. So this is by a Joe Sutton, and this was reported by a CNN. It shows an aircraft that you're looking at. It has hand crews and engines on the Adams Robles complex. Um, and so basically, what's happening is they're using some type of solution, I guess, to help to contain the fires that are happening. So they released that from that aircraft. Um, so the residents in part of Arizona were ordered to evacuate on Sunday as firefighters they battled several wildfires that is across the state amid extreme temperatures that have persisted for weeks. So about 160 residents were ordered to evacuate from the Sunflower area of Arizona Maricopa County. This was Sunday as the wildfire it burned in Tonto National Forest, authorities said. So deputies were evacuating residents and advising them to head to the town of Fountain Hills, where an evacuation center was set up for those residents. Maricopa County Sheriff Office Sergeant Joe Joe Quinn Enriquez told CNN this was Sunday evening. So at this point, the fire is burning in a place, and crews will monitor and continue some of the firefighting overnight. So Maricopa County and Emergency Management spokesperson Ron Coleman said this. So additional firefighting will continue in the morning. Sunflower is about 58 miles northeast of Phoenix, which hits 24 straight days of temperatures at above 110 degrees. That's how hot it has been out there. So that's why the fires just kind of burn like uncontrollably. So, according to a tweet from the National Weather Service, the city saw a high of 114 degrees on Sunday. So, over 100 miles away from Yavapai County. Sorry if I mispronounced that, where there's six active fires there that were burning. Residents of the community of Cherry were also ordered to flee on Sunday. So the racetrack fire is threatening your area. Please evacuate now. That's what they were telling the residents at Yavapai County Sheriff Office said in a go message to residents on Sunday night. So I'm looking at something on the side saying 39-day heat wave could last into August after smashing 200 and 2,300 plus records. So a special weather statement was in effect for parts of the Yavapai County for wind gusts up to like 50 miles per hour. It was warning the residents to expect high winds. The winds shift for the grapevine. And so it sounds like the weather is pretty crazy out there. And as is other places as well. So Maricopa County, where Phoenix is the nation's fourth largest county in terms of population size, according to the county's website. At least 44 million people were under heat advisories and excessive heat warnings on Sunday across much of the desert southwest, intermountain west, south Texas, and South Florida, according to the National Weather Service report. So over 2 dozen records were either set or tied. This was on Saturday across cities in Arizona, California, Florida, Idaho, Montana, Nevada, Puerto Rico, and Texas. So that's pretty much the article. is just talking about the changes in the weather pattern and how they had to evacuate people from their area, place where they live, and the temperatures being in triple digits, like 110, 114 digits that you hadn't seen in like maybe years, decades. It's like it's happening all over again, but it's like at full throttle. It's like super, super hot. And it's to the point to where they got to give weather advisories and alerts to people to stay hydrated and stay in cooling stations or in areas that don't have the high heat, that are like places where people can get some kind of reprieve from the triple digits. So it's been happening a lot more often. That's what this video, you notice that climate change is real. It is happening a lot more often than normal. But what I wanted to say is what I noticed, there's a lot of flooding as well in some areas outside of California. In California, there might be some places that might have it. I haven't necessarily took a good look at that, but I know there's some places like sort of on the outskirts where they had talked about a lot of flooding going on. So with that being said, I'm thinking that I noticed that over a period of time, they say the weather might we might see more extreme weather and it would escalate. And so there's some weather events that are probably sure to come. And this is just the beginning of it. And so I just would say to you, keep your eyes and ears open. But I feel like there's going to be more extreme weather ahead with what we're dealing with here. And I think this is just a reaction to all of the different changes that are happening in the climate. And that's the reason why it just seems like every year it gets hotter and hotter. And now we're seeing where the effects of this is coming into play, where people are having to be evacuated from places. I think it's going to happen more often in places and areas that you wouldn't believe, where people are going to be evacuated and they're going to have to move abruptly because of just bad weather, which is scary. So I would say be looking out for more of this. If not, I know people's like, I don't want to look for bad weather, but I feel like if we're prepared, I take it upon myself. I feel like what I need to do is I need to go and get an earthquake kit because I was reading something about earthquakes and it didn't sound good to me. It was saying that because of the earth not having the big one, they always say the big one is coming to California. And they say we have all these little mini quakes and that helps, but they say from what I've been reading, that's not really that much of a help. Not having an earthquake for a long length of time, it just means the tension is just there. It's more and more. But there's other fault lines other than the San Andreas fault. I think there's other fault lines that I've seen that are just as bad as San Andreas, if not worse. And then also there's that big volcano that in Yellowstone that they say it's still active, and we don't know when that's going to blow. And so there's a lot of possibilities, unfortunately, for a major weather event or natural disaster type event or something close to it. Lots of opportunity for that to happen. And so I think we just need to be vigilant and aware. I know there's a couple of surplus stores that I visited or frequent. Those might be some stores we should probably pay attention to more now than ever. I know people usually take it for granted because they figure, we just use this for camping. But I feel like now, the way things are going in situations that people are in, going to some of these surplus stores is probably not a bad idea.